Hey everyone, this is Sundown, Cooking with Sundown. Hope you guys are having a good night. Tonight we are going to make paprika chicken and rice, one of Mushy's favorite meals. So if I do it wrong, because this is one of her recipes, she will slap the far out of me. So it normally calls for just thighs with skin on them and everything. But I picked up leg quarters because that way you can stretch out your chicken that you want to use and get 2 meals instead of having to buy just legs or just thighs. So I will show you how to break it down right now. So before I break this chicken down, we're going to use yellow rice, chicken stock, minced garlic, shallot is a must, olive oil, paprika, salt and pepper, and then of course chicken. All right, so here we go. We got our leg quarters out. I'm going to show you how to bust these down real fast.
Freshly washed hands, by the way.
Yes, always, always, always.
Kitchen safety.
Kitchen safety. I cut this part off because I'm not a big fan of all that fat on that part. Now, the skin's good, but that is just...
Oh, you're hurting my feelings. You know why? Because that's air fryer chicken skin crisp chip material.
Well, yes and no on this because they don't clean this part as well as the rest of the chicken. So it's got a lot of pin feathers in it. So I just get rid of that part. Now, if you were going to take this skin off right here, oh yeah, for sure. So,
that's a recipe for another day, teaching people how to make chicken skin crisps in the air fryer.
Yeah, which is really good.
Chicken chips.
So you want to take your leg quarter and bend it back. You're going to hear that pop. Once you do, you're going to take your knife, pull it back so you can see the bone. Right there is where it breaks at. And then you're just going to cut down like that. And then you have one thigh here, one leg here. And you're going to repeat the process on all these.
Do you need a special knife to do this? You have a special knife.
Yeah, it's just a heavier knife. It makes cutting through bone easier.
So a boning knife would be preferred, but you don't have to have one.
Or a butcher's knife. You don't need one. I mean, you can do it with the little bitty knife right there.
The paring?
Yeah. So with the paring, you want to cut down into the chicken first instead of trying to break it back like I just did on that previous one. And there you go. All 4 of them done.
Whatever are we to do with those 4 drumsticks? Are you going to show us?
Not tonight. This will be another episode. I'm going to take these and I'm going to marinate them in a French onion soup mix and then cook them in the air fryer with French onion potatoes.
Are you going to show us how to marinate them tonight?
Oh, yes, I can.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so we're going to take our drums, put them in a bowl. I'm going to rinse off my hands real quick. Take a little bit of oil. If I can get this open. So we're going to use some vegetable and just any type of French onion soup mix. It can be the expensive or the cheap. It doesn't matter. I like the cheap better personally. So we're just going to add a little bit of oil in here.
Just enough to coat the chicken, right?
Yeah, about a tablespoon. And then this is the fun part.
Can I say that this is another one of Mushy's famous recipes? You're welcome.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just did.
I know you did. That's why I said go ahead. I couldn't stop you. No, I'm just teasing. No, we've all got some really good ideas on food. Go ahead and pour that package in there. And you're going to mix everything up. You want to try to do this the night before. It doesn't have to be, but it is so much better if you can get it done the night before, or at least a minimum of 6 hours.
I personally am impatient, and I do it in the moment right before I cook it, and it turns out good as well. So that's why he's saying, but it's better when everything has a chance to sink in, soak in, and sticky to that chicky.
Oh yeah, and I will be right back. I gotta go wash my hands.
So here is what the chicken should look like before being containered and marinated.
Yes, smells good.
Oh, and we have a smell of approval from the next room. That's how good it smells. I mean, just from the seasoning alone. What are you doing?
I am washing off my knives
Why?
to get the salmonella off of them.
Well, that sounds like it's a good, safe thing.
Oh, yeah.
My cat.
All right, so the cutting board that I was using before, that is moved off to the side. Grabbed a new one because that one is contaminated. And my knives have been washed and sanitized already, so I am ready to...
And so have the hands that we're now going to get re-dirty.
You know what? I'm going to do the onion first. That way I can get it out of the way.
I suggest that because I'm gonna tell you to do something with the chicken that you might not know to do.
Okay.
A mushy secret to this recipe that I don't share with anyone, and now I'm going to share it with the world, and everybody's going to know, and I'm going to cry because it won't be unique anymore.
Well, I shared the sugar and the gravy.
Yeah, okay. Tit for tat.
Yeah.
So that's a shallot. It's not it looks like a red onion, but it's not.
Big difference on flavor wise. I like the shallots better. The red onions, to me, they're good in certain stuff, but they also have a bitter taste in my opinion.
These have a stronger red onion flavor, in my opinion.
Yes.
They're a little bit stronger. That's why they're smaller. And I think that I've made this recipe with a generic red onion before, and it changes the whole flavor profile of the dish, believe it or not. I didn't like it. I was like, no, you go back to the store and you get a shallot.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Mm.
And you know, the more you cook, you know, you'll figure out that stuff. You know, you'll find out what's good and what's not good.
You had a real special way of making that dice up real easy.
Yeah. You want to cut slits down it, and then you want to cut 2 lines going in from the side. That way you don't have to spend hours trying to get everything chopped up real finely and nicely.
Will you walk me through it on the other half?
Yeah. So is what you're going to do is you're going to take your onion that you cut in half. You're going to cut down.
Not all the way to the end, just like
not all the way to the end. Just close. And then, you know, just do lines all the way down like this. And this one's skinnier than that one, so you can just do one in the center like that. Got to be careful with your fingers. And always when you cut, use this as a guard, your fingers. Don't cut like this, please do not. Always grab it, go forward, and then your fingers are your guide. And that'll keep you from cutting yourself every time.
But when in doubt, cut however you feel comfortable. Don't try doing some fancy cutting if you are not comfortable doing some fancy cutting.
And if you aren't, you know, comfortable with using knives, you can use, they do make cutting gloves that actually work really, really, really well. I do like them for people that don't have the experience with cutting. It gives them a sense of safety, and that's the most important part.
Well, also they have those little like machine doodads that can you drop it in and
oh, the slap chop.
Yeah, you could do the slap chop, the manual one, or the pluggy any version of that type of thing, and make yourself some finely diced shallot. You know, so you don't have to use a knife and cutting board if you don't want to, or if you
don't
can't.
want to, you don't have to. Actually, I'm going to grab my chicken cutting board since it already has chicken on it and bring it back out. So I grabbed my cutting board back, and we're going to use a tablespoon of salt.
Now, you said that cutting board was contaminated, but it's okay because it's the same chicken went on the same cutting board.
Yeah.
It just means it's you don't want to cross-contaminate with anything
with
not chicken.
Anything not chicken. You know,
not that chicken.
Yeah, you don't want to put pork on it or beef on it or any kind of vegetables. So this calls for, and we're actually going to double it, but right now we're just doing one tablespoon or 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of paprika. And if paprika don't come out, you can always squeeze the bottle. So you want to take this and shake it up. Because what you're going to do is you're going to take your skin. Do not remove it, but you want to lift it up like that. And you want to take this seasoning and shove down underneath the skin. That way the meat gets flavored and not just the skin. I don't know if you guys have ever had chicken that's seasoned real good on the outside, but then when you get past the skin part, you get to the chicken and it's kind of like, what happened to the good flavor?
Yeah, you eat the skin and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then you start eating the meat and you're like, oh, it tastes just like chicken.
I don't like that. I like all the flavor throughout. So you want to do that. But if you go right here on it, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just lift up and then stop it. Don't pull it all the way back. Just take your fingers.
Just like a little cave, a little pocket.
Yep. And
a
push
little
back.
tent. And if you find that we like a lot of seasoning, we may need to make more, actually.
Well, we need more. This is just for the inside.
Okay.
This is not for the outside because you're going to put the same spices on the outside of it.
Yeah, but as it cooks, doing this and putting it like traps it under the skin. So as it's cooking, it has no choice but to sink into the meat because the meat is more seasony, sinky-inny than the skin. So the skin is almost like a saran wrap that traps the seasoning under it. And it has no choice but to like sink into the skin.
Sink in there. All right, so I'm going to wash my hands real quick. All right, so we are going to salt and pepper the chicken. This is a Himalayan sea salt. You can use any kind of salt you like. I like the pink salt. And then I put pepper on it. And this is on this, it's a teaspoon and a teaspoon and a teaspoon. That's season it how you like. Because a lot of this, I think they just write down a generic number for how much to put on and all that other stuff. Because sometimes you use a dash of this and a dash of that, and it just tastes like you have a dash of nothing.
And honestly, we like a lot of seasoning and flavor. I don't think there can be too much, except for that one time that I over-seasoned the potatoes.
Oh, God.
There was this one time in band camp.
Pretty much.
All right, so you want to flip this over, your chicken, and you just want to repeat the process again. And do salt.
And notice that he's only using one hand for messy and one hand for safe.
Yep. Always want to keep one hand clean so you can do this.
And other things, like turn on the faucet to wash your hands and
Exactly.
grab your seasonings and stuff. So one's a chicken hand and one's a seasoning hand.
Yeah.
There's a dirty joke in there somewhere.
I'm keeping that to myself.
Well, Dad, if you're watching, just know, yes, we thought of the dirty jokes too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and him have fun. We're just like the all-time dads here.
Dirty dad jokes.
Gotta love it. All right, so we're going to let this set for a minute.
And soak in.
Yeah, let it sweat out a little bit. Because what that salt's going to do is it's going to bring up the flavors. It's going to, help sweat it out. A lot of people don't like to sweat meats, but I do. You'll see that in one of my other videos. I'm gonna do a pork butt out on the smoker, so you'll see that with a homemade rub and everything. Put that over there. All right, gotta wash my hands real quick. All right, it says put it on high. I don't like going too high on my stove because being a glass top, this thing gets freaking hot on cast iron skillets. This is a cast iron. This is a must. If you don't have one of these, you can use like the old time cast iron skillets that Grandma and Grandpa used to have.
But it is a must for this recipe.
Yeah,
because of all the high heat and going into the oven, and because it's going to help us make some scrapey brown bits of goodness.
Yes. All right, so we're going to add about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. And then I'm going to add another tablespoon of vegetable oil.
Because we're out of olive oil. Got to use what you got on hand.
Hey, it works. Let this heat up, and then you're going to add your chicken to cook with it.
And see, that's about as much oil as you need. Just enough to kind of coat the bottom. Because why? What are we going to do?
Well, you want to brown the skins on these until they get a nice dark golden brown. So you want to cook these skin down first.
We just needed enough oil in the bottom. Just enough to get that skin to turn a
nice golden brown.
Yes.
All right, so the oil has gotten hot. I did throw a piece of shallot in there, so we're making like a little French onion piece here. You want to take your chicken, put it skin down. You want that sizzle. So be careful. Always set the chicken away from you. Man, these are some big pieces. I'm only going to be able to fit maybe 2 in here. Yeah, this is going to have to be done in 2 batches. Right on.
But if you buy the thighs pre-packaged, not broken apart like that, you can fit 4 to 5 in there at a time.
They're smaller. This is actually a better deal than just buying chicken thighs or buying just legs, because I think this for a 4-pack, for a family 4-pack, it was like $7.50, and then I was gonna get just a package of family size thighs, which are only like that big. Really, they're small. And it was almost $10. So I was like, I can get multiple meals out of this. There's going to be more meat, more skin, more flavor, because bigger bones give good flavor. You can hold me on that if you want. If not, that's fine. I understand too. But that's my thought process on that part.
And how long are we going to leave them in there, skin side down?
About 5 minutes.
Kind of play it by eye.
Yeah, pretty much. Because you don't want it to burn, but you do want that nice crisp skin. And then you're gonna flip it over after that's done and cook it on the other side for the same amount of time. And while you're doing this, you want to go ahead and preheat your oven at 400 degrees. Like I said before, I get in a zone and I just...
That's why this is cooking with sundown, but you hear a lot of mushy. It's not because I'm a egomaniac who's trying to butt in on his channel. I'm just trying to help him get comfortable talking while cooking, which is an uphill battle. Both ways in the snow.
Well, that's think about it. When you started your channel, I sat in there with you, so you would feel more comfortable. And
so I felt like I was talking to someone.
Yeah, instead of like, hey, hi, oh, hi. So, she helps me, I help her, and it makes everything, I'm going to be sad when I get that tripod in, because
it won't talk to you.
I'm going to have to put some Schmexa on it, and she talks back and doesn't listen half the time.
So because we did end up increasing the heat to high, because the oil wasn't heating in the cast iron pot fast enough.
Yeah, it would have been like days.
But now it's super hot, and we didn't need the full 5 minutes on that one side.
No, not at all. It's got a good crust on it.
Yep, once you see it getting golden brown... despite time recommendations, you always kind of want to just check. And the reason he keeps lifting the chicken and looking under is not only to check, but is to circulate the oil under the chicken to make sure that, it doesn't start trapped, and sticking the chicken to the bottom. You know what I mean? Like a dry pocket. You want to make sure the oil is under the chicken.
And that's happened before with stainless steel. That's why this kind of pot right here is crucial to use.
And I think it was like $35 at Walmart, maybe 35 or 40. It's a little on the costly side, but I've had this thing for maybe like 10 years, somewhere between 5 and 10, and it is in immaculate condition. You can't.
Yeah, but the thing about it though is it's not just a one-time cooking pot. You can do rice puddings, you can do cakes, cobblers, anything. And if you don't mind stirring for 4 days straight. It makes some of the best gravies in there too, to be honest with you. But you know, like I said, you know, you're gonna have to stir it or it will burn, because that's cast iron.
Now, I noticed you took the chicken out of there and you didn't put it back where the raw chicken lived. You put it in its own little dish. Can you please tell me why?
Yeah, because even though that's still cooked on the outside, it's still raw. And I don't want to cross-contaminate or putting it back into the raw container by its, you know, into
the raw.
Yeah, the raw.
So it needs its own container to prevent salmonella and things like that, because this has raw juices. And this, at least, is somewhat browned and cooked on the outside.
It just has raw. It don't have the raw.
Yeah, it's just one raw, not two.
Yeah, yeah. This one's not Lady Gaga style. It's not raw. It's just raw. Sorry.
But it is a different cooking stage. So you want to try to remember when you're working with meats, if you have to take them out and put them in and take them out, if it's a different cooking stage, it needs its different dish.
Yes. Always.
So if we were going to put those pieces of chicken back in for a few more minutes, but not, you know, even for a few minutes or fully cook them, it would need a third dish for because it's a different cooking stage of the meat.
Yeah, that's one thing is I use probably more dishes than what it's supposed to need, but cooking is supposed to be fun, but it also has to be, you know,
safe.
Sanitary and safe. You don't want to make anyone sick, you know, your loved ones or anything like that. And that comes from being, you know, in a restaurant for as long as I've been in one cooking. And, you know, you get certified for safe serve and all that. You know, you learn about temperatures. You learn about, you know, don't cross-contaminate.
And so we do already have the skin side brown, and he's browning the other side. Again, instructions dictate 5 to 6 minutes aside, but we did not need it. It's go by eye and smell.
Yeah, it's funny because like the other day when I was doing biscuits and gravy, you know, they're like, "Did you set a timer?" No. I don't do timers. I'm gonna flip this chicken back over again.
Brown it a little more.
Yeah, I didn't get it as cooked,
crispy,
as crispy as I want it to. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this down on the heat to about a medium, because it's gonna take a second for the oil to cool down. But if you put your shallots and your garlic into that on high, it will burn.
It will. It'll be like little Mexican jumping beans. It'll start jumping out of the pot at you. Oh. I happen to know from experience. They'll start jumping, and it hurts. So don't do that.
Hurts bad.
Yeah, so when you're finishing your batch of chicken, once you do that final flip, turn the heat down. Give that oil time to cool down. And so here's kind of what he's holding it down to help it sear a little faster.
Yeah, this chicken right here, this one's got a big concave in it. So the edge on the outside wasn't up to par to what I wanted for the crispiness. The top part's real crispy, but the sides were kind of like that. So I'm just helping it. Alright, so we have this to the crispiness that we wanted. And you can take the back of a knife just like this. And here, the scrape. You probably can't hear it because this thing's sizzling, but it's gonna have a rough feel to it and a rough sound. So you know it's done.
Now, when you say you know it's done, we don't mean it's cooked done.
Yeah,
we just mean the crispy skin part.
The crispy skin
and
done.
The brown part.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take this pan and set it back for a second to let it cool down a little bit, because like I said, you don't want to add the shallots, you don't want to add the garlic at this time. And while you're at it, just be careful, but you're going to have splatter. It's best to clean it up as you go, because that stuff will cook on and bake on.
Just don't burn yourself. Just be really careful.
Yeah, please be careful. All right, so we got the chicken done, and then I'm going to add the shallot in here. Get it all nice and nice and tender and everything. I added the shallot before the garlic because if you don't, that garlic, it cooks so fast it'll burn.
It'll cook faster than the shallot, and then you'll have undercooked shallot and overcooked garlic, and nobody wants that.
Yeah, it's no good.
So this is what it should look like.
Yes. The recipe calls for you to drain the oil out. We like the extra oil in there because it's got all the seasonings and it has all the burnt bits from the chicken in there, and it really gives everything a good flavor.
And this is where you want to start scraping all that seasoning off too. If you can, get what you can. Just don't burn yourself. But those scrapey bits are the bread and butter.
Oh, it makes the dish.
Yeah, it gets in the rice, and it's the crunchy little bits.
You see how that is browning up real good? The onions are nice and soft. They're getting there. So probably another 30-40 seconds at the temperature that the oil's at. It's all going to be based on eye and everything, because
and smell. I can smell it.
Yeah, you can't really give, like, I can tell you to bake this in your oven, for 35-40 minutes, and it could only take 28 minutes in your oven, or it could take 50 minutes. Every oven, it makes no sense to me, but every oven's different. Gas is going to be different. They just heat up better. Heat up faster. So now I'm going to add a tablespoon times 2 of garlic, because we like garlic.
The recipe says a tablespoon, but we like garlic heavy food, and so we add extra. It's to your own personal taste.
Yeah, you never know when Count Dracula is going to stop by.
She does live across the street.
Yeah, or I was going to say, my mom, but no, my mom's not that. Yeah, she's mom. Well. All right.
I think Vlad the Impaler would be afraid of your mother.
If he's smart, he would be.
Yeah.
All right. So, this normally calls for, oh gosh, what kind of rice was that?
Basmati.
Basmati rice. And we wanted to try something different because I got the girls hooked on yellow rice. And we're like, hey, let's try it with the yellow rice. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to turn the heat back up on this. Let that heat up real fast. And it doesn't matter if that spoon touches that chicken because it's all going back into here.
Now, some people might be a little bit afraid because of all the oil, and they might be thinking, oh my gosh, the fat. In all fairness, this recipe does call for extra virgin olive oil. We just happened to be using what we had on hand, which was a little bit of olive oil. That olive oil is healthier in the fat department.
It is healthier. You can use olive oil, you can use canola oil, corn oil, peanut oil.
But the healthiest is olive oil.
Olive oil and olive oil and avocado oil is real good. It says you're supposed to pour the rice in here and then add your chicken stock. I like to pour the rice in and kind of toast it a little bit because it gives it a really good flavor.
And get it soaking up some of that oil, because like I said earlier, we really like this dish with our rice a little oily. I know that sounds weird, but in the end, you'll see it's not going to be like a dish of rice with oil sitting on top. It's just, it adds so much flavor.
So much flavor. And then I'm going to add parsley to this. Takes about a teaspoon.
You could have added it during the paprika, salt, and peppering of the chicken if you had wanted to.
Not going to lie, you could have. I don't, because of the fact that the heat on that parsley going into that oil, a lot of times it'll burn it. And it doesn't hurt it. It just gives it a kind of a unique taste. So I add it in with the rice as I cook it down. Now that's been cooking long enough, and the parsley turns out a lot better that way. So we're going to add our stock, which I have stock that I just bought at the store. It works real good. If you're worried about the sodium, they do have a low sodium, and they also have it's called a chicken bone. It's a stronger stock. Costs a little more.
Don't they have a fat-free too?
Yeah, they have a fat-free and a sodium-free. And then, but
He means low sodium.
I don't need low sodium. All right, so the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of stock. I'm gonna try just a cup to see where we're at, because there's more oil.
Is that a measuring cup I see in your hand?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh. Call the diamond painting police.
I'm just trying to be.
Get Officer Putty or Lieutenant Diamond over here. Officer Drill.
I'm just trying to be nice.
Well, if you're not careful, you might find yourself in the middle of a rap battle, sir.
Heck yeah. All right, so I'm gonna add another 1/4 cup just to be safe. And then you're gonna take this, remove it from the heat.
And you stir it up. He stirred it up, everything.
Yeah, I stirred everything up so it's nice and blended.
You don't want it totally soupy. You don't want it to have it's just enough to cover the rice, because the rice will soak up that broth and leave you with a dry rice. But if you put too much of the brothy, stocky stuff in there, you're going to end up with a mushy...
A nice rice soup.
Yeah, a mushy rice soup.
All right, so you want to take your chicken thighs and you want to place some skin up.
And just gently set them on top. You're not trying to push them down in there, okay? You want to keep that crispy skin. So you're just laying it on the bed of rice. Now, these are big. We might have to take some finagling. Even if you use the smaller ones, the recipe calls for 5, and you do have to kind of finagle that as well, in my experience. So,
all right, so I have the thighs in here. It's best as I could, because them some thick thighs, and then I'm gonna take what was left from the juice and pour that on top, because it all makes it better. And then
waste no flavor.
No, none at all. Then you're gonna lid this and put it into the oven. Watch out, coming around hot. And while this bakes, this is time to clean up and get everything organized again.
And get hangry, because it smells so good and you want to eat it now, but it needs about 45 minutes.
In about 45 minutes.
So we'll see you in 45 minutes.
Or in your viewing time will be just in a second.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, you're gonna check on the chicken now. I gotta hold my face back because I'm wearing glasses, because that's not fun. Oh,
I got a good shot of Leah being a creeper in the background. There it is.
That'd be all right.
Hey, creeper Leah.
That looks amazing.
Oh, now she's not being a creeper, but she was. There it is. But what we really want to see. Oh, look at that. So this is what we should see. Here it's sizzling.
Oh, that's perfect.
You
now
checking?
You can take your fork, and if your chicken pulls apart like that without any kind of like
resistance.
Thank you. I couldn't think
force.
of yeah, that's perfect. Sorry, quality check.
Go cheater pants. And as you can see in there, it smells, I'll admit, it smells a little burny. But that's because of the burnt bits on the sides of the pan. So don't freak out if you smell a little burnt situation as it's cooking. It's those brown bits. But also part of having the lid on did what to the food, Sundown?
It helps steam the chicken, and it helps steam the rice to keep everything cooking
moist.
at an even...
Everyone's favorite word, moist.
I wasn't going to say that, but
okay.
It keeps it moist.
But we browned the skin and crispified it at the beginning. So what are you doing now?
I am taking the chicken out, because with all the moisture that's in there, it will soften up. And so I like to put it in the air fryer, or you can do it in the broiler of your oven. It doesn't matter either way. And I like to crisp up the skin even more, because it will lose a lot of the crispiness being in this. I do it at 400 and do it for 5 minutes and then check to see how it looks.
And that's a Ninja dual barrel air fryer. If you can't tell, we are huge Ninja cookware fans. But now what are you doing?
I am stirring everything up. Oh, this turned out good.
Does the rice look nice and cooked and soft and not hard and crunchy?
There is hard and crunchy on the bottom, But that's normal because of the cook?
Because we had oil in there and it did fry a little bit, which is the crunchy like fried rice bits are my favorite part. Oh, we're doing a dance. We're doing a jig. I take it that means it's good.
I think I like that better with the yellow rice than I do the white.
Wow. All right, so.
I really do.
Well, no fair. Was that the cook?
Behind the scenes.
Oh. There it is. What's that?
That is some green beans that I did in the microwave.
Okay.
But I gotta make them green beans.
So they can't just come out of the bag and be,
No. I keep bacon grease. This is like liquid gold.
Liquid gold.
It's good for frying eggs, whatever, anything. Really.
So you just did a heaping scoop of bacon grease in a preheated pan.
Yeah, a teaspoon.
That looks more table-y to me.
No, it's deep.
That's table-y.
No.
Yes.
No, that's teaspoon.
Table. It's tbsp, not tuspa. Okay, fine. Teaspoon.
Thank you.
It's a tablespoon.
It's a teaspoon and a half. It's a teaspoon.
It's a tablespoon.
All right. So we're just gonna pour
You
those.
did steam those in the microwave first,
Yes,
right?
for 5 minutes, and then I'll finish them up.
Now we do have a live tonight on my channel, so we're kind of pressed for time. If we had more time, I would request some extra crispy bacon up in there.
Oh yeah.
But unfortunately, we just don't have the time. Hence the bacon grease.
Which is good in its own. I'm gonna go ahead and speed that up. Now your salt, you do not want to put that much salt in these if you're seasoning with bacon grease, because bacon grease is salty and fatty. So if you were just doing, butter or olive oil, then you just season them normal. So put as much pepper as you want in there. I'm gonna pause this real quick and take a look at it. Got about a minute left, and then dinner will be done.
All right, so you're just gonna, it's melting down. Those are already hot and steamed, so you're just gonna basically coat them in the melted bacon grease over the skillet, and that'll be it.
That'll be it on that.
And like I said, if we had more time, I'd probably do like a pearl onion and have some crispy bacon in there.
Or shallots would be good in here.
Yeah.
Or, anything really.
But we are kind of short on time, so we're doing the the shortcut method, which is the bacon grease.
Which is just as good.
Yes. Now you're just heating that up through and coating them. You're not trying to saute them or whatever, right? You're not trying to get.
I'll let them saute for a minute in it, so
But you're not trying to make a brown, crunchy skin on the green beans or anything like that. You're just heating them through and coating them and getting the flavor infused.
Now, if you guys remember how much liquid was in here, you can see how
it's all gone.
It's all gone.
Yeah, it got absorbed into the rice and into the chicken.
Alrighty, chicken is almost done. Green beans are done. I like to sprinkle a little bit of farm cheese on them. Not a lot, because it gets all kind of gooey if you do. And then those are done. Chicken is done, so we can pull this out. Oh gosh, take a look at that.
Wait, say it right.
Oh, take a look at that.
Thank you. Yes, and you can see that the skin's kind of curling a little bit. That indicates high crunch factor.
All right, guys, give me just a minute. I'm going to plate this up, and we will be right back.
Look at that. Here we are plated up. Leave in the comments below which plate was plated up by Mushy and which plate was plated up by Sundown himself. No special prizes or anything other than bragging rights and guessing who plated what up. But anyway, what do we have to close with, sir?
I want to thank everybody for stopping by and watching the channel and enjoying being with me and my family. Couldn't ask for more. I hope you guys really like this dish. There will be a description of the ingredients and how to cook this, put in, and I just
Down in the description box below.
yeah, thank you. I'm still learning. I'm trying. Oh my god.
I'm here to help because I love you.
I know, I love you too. But I want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for stopping by and checking me out. I know I'm new and upcoming, and hopefully one day it'll be, you know, a lot better. But I'm still going to keep how it is. You know, I don't want nothing fancy. I like doing what I do. And you know, once again, you're probably going to get tired of hearing this, but thank you. But we got a live to do that we're getting ready to get on, so we gotta mow down, eat dinner, and do that live. And y'all have a wonderful night and feast.
Stay naughty.